Kamala Harris and her people obviously did a calculation. And the calculation was they're at a point in the campaign where she had to throw some form of last-ditch Hail Mary effort to try to draw some conservative voters to her side, to try to show that she can stand up to a tough interview. So they chose Bret Baier on Fox News. And there was a huge expectation among a lot of real conservatives that Bret would go easy on her. And he didn't. I think he was fair, but he wasn't easy. And Kamala Harris, during this interview, cracked many, many times in terms of her affectations, her responses becoming more shrill. At one point, she lost her temper. But when Bret Baier was speaking with her about immigration, a question she knew was coming, she knew that she was going to sit with Baier. She knew this would be a topic. There's something she could not do. Because despite the fact that Kamala Harris is intellectually slow to the point of futility, she does know why the borders are open. Therefore, she can't have that actual conversation. And when people hide things from you, there's a reason why. I work with a company called Bioptimizers who doesn't hide a thing. The moment you purchase a product from them, they will send you these videos that describe how and why to use them, and then follow-on videos about optimizing your health that have nothing to do with their products. Optimizing your health in terms of how to let the past go. And the guys, Matt and Wade, who run this place, are guys who've succeeded in this way. Incidentally, I know some news about Wade. It's very good news. I hope you add some prayers to his family. Just let me leave it there. I can't disclose this yet, but when he's on the show, I'll disclose it. I use Bioptimizers for the products, but also the education, the books they provide. These guys are teachers at heart. The thing I've been talking about recently is called Masszymes. This is such a misunderstood opportunity. You eat food every day that's not going to end. You probably try to be nutritious. Maybe you've been involved dieting. Please don't call it that. Or restrictive eating, calorie-controlled eating, or maybe just healthy eating to drop fat. If you've been doing that at all, you need Masszymes, and here's why. It can help you sustain muscle. I think it can even help you grow muscle. It is a set of digestive enzymes that in a side-by-side study at Berkshire International University in Bosnia showed that people who ate food with Masszymes saw a 1,200% increase in the presence of amino acids in their bodies versus the group that didn't eat Masszymes. That is the building block of proteins. Proteins are the building block of muscle. This also delivers, to me, fantastic digestive comfort. You know that phrase we don't like to use because I seem like a 77-year-old man sitting on the edge of a bed, regularity. Yeah, trust me. You're in your 40s, you'll joke about it too. Then one day you'll go, I really like regularity. Go to bioptimizers.com/Todd. You get 10% off all their products, including Masszymes. Get more nutrition for every single bite of food you chew. Get more nutrition for your dollar, which is important during these inflationary times. It's bioptimizers.com/Todd. Bret Baier and Kamala Harris.
You know, voters tell pollsters all over the country and here in Pennsylvania that immigration is one of the key issues that they're looking at this election, and specifically the influx of illegal immigrants from more than 150 countries. How many illegal immigrants would you estimate your administration has released into the country over the last 3.5 years?
Well, I'm glad you raised the issue of immigration because I agree with you. It is a topic of discussion that people want to rightly have. And you know what I'm going to talk about.
Yeah, but
right
do you
now,
just a number? Do you think it's 1 million, 3 million?
Bret, let's just get to the point. Okay, the point is that we have a broken immigration system that needs to be repaired.
So your Homeland Security Secretary said that 85% of apprehensions.
I'm not finished. We have an
immigration estimate of 6 million people have been released into the country. And let me just finish. I'll get to the question, I promise you.
I was beginning to answer.
And when you came into office, your administration immediately reversed a number of Trump border policies. Most significantly, the policy that required illegal immigrants to be detained through deportation, either in the U.S. or in Mexico. And you switched that policy. They were released from custody awaiting trial. So instead, included in those were a large number of single men, adult men, who went on to commit heinous crimes. So Looking back, do you regret the decision to terminate Remain in Mexico at the beginning of your administration?
At the beginning of our administration, within practically hours of taking the oath, the first bill that we offered Congress, before we worked on infrastructure, before the Inflation Reduction Act, before the Chips and Science Act, before the bipartisan Safer Communities Act, the first bill, practically within hours of taking the oath, was a bill to fix our immigration system.
Yes, ma'am. It was called the U.S. Citizenship Act of 2021.
Exactly.
It was essentially a pathway to citizenship for the... Yes, ma'am.
May I finish responding, please?
But
you have to let me finish,
You
please.
had the White House and the House and the Senate,
and they didn't bring up that bill. I'm in the middle of responding to the point you're raising.
You're in the middle
I'd like to
of
finish.
listing a series of bills that have nothing to do with this. You're in the middle of filibustering. Bret Baier did a good job because he understands your goal here is to fill the space with a whole bunch of words tossed out into a display of salad-y or finger painting by words. You cannot admit the number because the number will shock people who are seeing it for the first time. You cannot admit it wasn't a mistake, it's design. You cannot admit that the immigration system's not broken. It's dismantled. You cannot admit that the people who run you had you and Joe create the Custom Borders Patrol app that allows people to skip the border. Illegal immigrants to fly straight into the country because you are purposely overrunning the cities and voters are catching on. A lot of black voters in a lot of urban areas are catching on. It's really frustrating to watch that unless you realize that God uses people like Kamala. He used President Trump in a certain way. He's using her. Look at the liars. Look at the absolute lie they become. Trust him. Take a comparison. Kamala lost her mind a little bit, too. She was not a big fan of this entire interview.
Frankly, exhausted of Bret.
More than 70% of people tell the country is on the wrong track. They say the country is on the wrong track. If it's on the wrong track, that track follows 3.5 years of you being vice president and President Biden being president. That is what they're saying, 79% of them. Why are they saying that? If you're turning the page, you've been in office for 3.5 years.
And Donald Trump has been running for office.
But you've been the person holding the office.
Come on. You and I both know what I'm talking about. You and I both know what I'm talking about.
I actually don't. What are you talking about?
What I'm talking about is that over the last decade,
people have become...
But listen, over the last decade, it is clear to me, and certainly the Republicans who are on stage with me.
The last decade of Trump. Trump was in power for 4 years. The desperation you see here is the desperation of the Hail Mary to go on Fox. And when Bret Baier said, I actually don't know what you're talking about, Kamala, through body language, through response, effectively said, I know. I know you know that I know. I know you know that I'm here to filibuster this entire thing. Can you imagine how frustrating it must be to know the truth and not be able to speak it? To not be able to say, Bret, of course the border's open. We need these people to import as voters. We need to run down our cities so people will accept absolutely draconian rule. Of course we're doing this, Bret. We're doing this in service of the same thing that's happening globally. The mass migration globally, mass illegal migration into Scotland and Netherlands and Ireland and the UK, it's all part of a trend, Bret. We're told to do these things. Of course we're doing it. You know this, Bret. I don't have any real control over this. This is what I've been told to do. And guess what? I get to be president if I'm installed or maybe even win. But she can't. It must be so frustrating to not be able to speak the truth of what you're actually doing and the brilliance of the plan. And God gives us the ability to discern. Serious question for you. When was the last time you thanked God that you're not conned by this stuff? If you don't think that has to do with him, I have news for you. You didn't create your own mind or your own ability to see these things. God sees them as well.